Let's start. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the one more webcast of VIVENTOR. This time we have our guest here from Switzerland, from Zug. Please welcome Gregor Stadelmann, co-founder of i2 Group. Welcome, Gregor.
Hi, Andrius. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. And today we are going to speak about your company, yourself, and how you're dealing with the current situation and what are your plans for the future. Just for our viewers to understand, so Gregor and i2 Group, or i2 Invest company, is one of the biggest investors of VIVENTOR platform. They're a company investor, and we're very glad that you're with us and you have stayed with us through these difficult times since this March. And my first maybe question to you, Gregor, is that you could introduce yourself to investors community and who you are and how did you start the company?
Yeah, many thanks for this kind introduction. Yeah, to sum it up, we started to invest in marketplace lending like in 2015, and it was more a hobby for us. I think like most investors you have at the moment. But then you know how it is. We were quite busy, and then we said, okay, we need to automate as much as possible. So we were three friends at the beginning, like a lawyer and two finance guys. And then we said, yeah, we need an IT guy. And we got Marcus Benz, who worked for Credit Suisse at this time in the IT department. And we started to automate as much as possible. And then, yeah, you know how it is, how boys are. It made fun, and our IT system grew and grew, and you want to implement that feature and that feature. And it became quite big, and it was all in our spare time. And then 2017, we said, yeah, it's so much fun, but let's make a company out of it. But it was nothing serious. We just said it was like on Sunday morning, having coffee and eating some small things after a night out. And when we said, okay, let's found the company. And we started 2017, but really nothing serious. It was just to develop it a little bit, but it was more like a hobby. But then we grew and grew, and the returns were quite good, and we had a lot of fun. And then in 2019, we finally said, okay, guys, now or never, because we were also quite busy in our jobs. Mark and I were working in merchant acquisition for a quite good company here in Switzerland. Dominic was a lawyer. They also sometimes work a little bit more than 8 hours a day. And Marcus was coding all day and all night. And then we said, okay, now either we jump, we start to do even more and do it full time, or we have to slow it down. And so 2019 for us, it was really the year where we jumped, and where we said, yeah, this is a business we want to do in the future, and where we started i2.
Mm. Well, you mentioned that you started with automation, and with can you describe more what automation did you do and what is it now?
Yeah,
how does it work?
So our approach, and which worked quite well until the COVID crisis, was we were like a little bit quant fund. So we gathered information about the delays, about how long it took to the money to transit from the loan originator to us or to the platform, and KPIs like that. And based on that, we did our investments decision, or we stopped our investments based on that information. And this was our approach. And this was quite successful because, as you all know, we had a very good time until the COVID crisis. The circumstances were great. Nothing was changing too much. And so more or less we were driving with looking a little bit in the back mirror, picking the loan originator which performed well, which had good portfolios, and investing in them. And then of course, as you know, the COVID crisis came, and it became a little bit less predictable. So what we will do going forward is much more also market research. And at the moment, we are building up like 1-2 people who mainly will do that. But the way we think is really like a little bit the quant fund. Yeah, and this will be always a part of our strategy. So for us, it's all about data gathering, data standardization, and then making our decisions. And we really have this cross marketplace approach. So at the moment, we have like 35 marketplaces, where we invest, but this will grow in the next 2-3 months.
You mentioned you have 35 marketplaces connected to your company and systems right now. And are they all like peer-to-peer marketplaces, or are there some mixture of different types of marketplaces?
All are lending. All are lending. But what people probably do not know a lot in the Baltics, I mean, for us, marketplaces, and also one is quite huge. So one has done over 40 billion in marketplace, also in volume. So we have also quite huge marketplaces here. And we have not all integrated, all Swiss marketplaces, but we will do so because we will launch a project at the end of this year with one Swiss partner, one Swiss asset manager who wants to integrate more or less all Swiss marketplaces and start to invest in SME loans here in Switzerland and Germany and Austria. So end of this year, we will probably up with 45 or even 50 marketplaces integrated in our system. Yeah.
So if I understand correctly, you're currently, being a company, invest not only your own funds, but also you are inviting other investors to invest through your company into these marketplaces.
And we have like 2 business sectors. First, we invest our own money because it's, technically speaking, at the moment, we do not have customers yet. We just have like 19, let's say, big customers which give us a loan, and we are allowed to invest wherever we want. We could buy shares, bonds, or whatever, but of course, due to our preference, we are mainly in marketplace lending. This is the first area. And the second area is we work with asset manager where we give out our software. Because as you know, not all marketplaces are the same. And we had also in Switzerland, we have banks or asset manager which invest a little bit in different marketplaces. But of course, for them, it's so much pain to standardize all this information. And then they build like a pivot stuff in their Excel sheets, and then the marketplace is changed to something and everything breaks, and the guy is coding again 3 days to get it right. And so we come in and say, okay, guys, just take our system. You can build your dashboard as you want. We can put the reports up as you want. Do not care about that. Do that for yourself, and just take care of your customers. Do what you're good at, and just take our software. So this is the second business segment for us, and we have quite a huge demand for that. And I think this is a probability for us to grow really fast, because we can concentrate on what we are good at, and the relationship with the marketplaces, our IT software, and so we see there a big potential. Coming back to the first business segment, so we always did our business with these 19 loans. And on the beginning, it was my sister, it was Dominic's brother, one of my co-founders. So we got the money from the family, more to speak, and also quite small numbers at the beginning. And we changed that a little bit. And now we have like a family office, which provides fund to us. We have several quite well-known professional investors here in Switzerland, which have built up quite big companies. But we will change our product in the future. So what we will have is like bankable products, end of this year, beginning of next year. And so 2 funds are in the planning or already are set up. And as soon as the situation is a little bit better, we will start to invest also with these two funds, which are advised by us. So we will not be the fund administrator, but we will advise them and give them our software so that they can invest.
I know that the peer-to-peer funds that invest in peer-to-peer marketplaces are quite common in United States, but there are not so many of those in this area, like in European Union.
Yeah.
So would this mean that there would be a possibility to have a new investment fund investing in peer-to-peer in Europe?
100%. I think it's we will do that 100%. And I think it's only a question of time. So as soon as the marketplaces are more mature, and I think we will not be the last or the first and the last people who do that. This is the future. I mean, if you have, for you as a marketplace, of course, you are much more demanding and sometimes much more annoying than a normal retail investor. I mean, I see that myself. I'm on some marketplaces, I'm a retail investor, and sometimes I could not care less because it's just a little bit play money. Sometimes it's laying around, it's not even invested all the time. And yeah, so I do not care that much. And if we come in as with a fund, I mean, the things we have to provide to get all the licenses and that we don't have any problems are much more sophisticated. But on the other hand, I think it will help marketplace lending to grow, because as soon as such funds come into the market, it's also a potential to grow it very fast. And on the other side, I mean, me as a retail investor, I would like to have returns of 12, 13, 14%, and I do not care much about risk. On the other side, the more sophisticated investors, they can live with a little bit less, 100%, but of course they need more documents, they need a little bit less risk and so on. So it would help marketplace lending to grow. And just an example, I mean, the biggest marketplace here in Switzerland, they provide loans to town and villages and the government here in Switzerland. And the returns there are very low, sometimes even negative, 0, 0.5, and they're growing like crazy. So I see marketplace lending not only in this high yield environment, but also like 6, 5, 7% as soon as other investor types come in.
Can you describe your target in, let's say, object of investment? What is most attractive to you? What type of loans? What countries? What industries? Or it's very varied?
So yeah, as there was a time before Corona and there is a time after Corona. So the 2020 goal is not to lose a lot of money, you know. Yeah. So if you as a professional investor can show a 2020 with more or less stable return and no big drawdowns, they will love you. So for us, it's at the moment, to be very honest, it's all about the risk. It's also, I mean, we are sitting a little bit on cash, to be honest. We reduced risks. And I think this Corona crisis for a lot of marketplace and loan originator will be make or break, because if you have lost trust once, then you're dead. I mean, in banking and I think in this field, it's all about trust. So we are a little bit on the sideline. We are investing a little bit, but not too much. And we are looking at the moment who is very closely looking who is doing what and how are the portfolios changing and moving. Yeah.
So more now in observation stage, kind of like.
I mean, we need to invest a little bit, of course. But yeah, we are looking very closely who is doing what, and we are very sure that 1 or 2 marketplaces will have problems in the next months. It's very obvious. Yeah. So this year is about preservation, not to have big drawdowns. And I mean, if you have like 5% at the end of the year, 5-6%, it's you're after the non-performing losses, write-offs, everybody's happy.
Did you get a chance to play in the stock market since coronavirus, when there was like huge jumps up and down in this area?
You know, we are a different kind of breed, so we are not like traders, and this is why perhaps we are also in marketplace lending, because our approach was really to build like a fixed income product, or replace a fixed income product, which is still has like very low volatility and still has a good return. And if you are, me and my colleagues, if we are in stocks, we buy every month. So if it goes up, it goes down, we do not care. We invest the same amount of money every month, and if we don't need cash for whatever reason, we do not look at it. And if you want to play trader on Robinhood, that's okay with me. You can do that, but we are not this kind of people. So
okay,
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the 2 funds you are planning? So I mean, it's a really interesting thing. What is the timeline there? How far are you there, and how it will transform your company and the business in the future?
Yeah, so one fund, it would be ready end of this month. There we have nearly 7 million seed money already signed. But we have to decide if we want to start end of this month or September, October. It depends. There we want to invest like in, let's say, in loan originator, where we think they have a quite good performance during this crisis, and where we see that the portfolios are still okay. So this is project number 1, and the project number 2 is, of course, SME loans in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And there is a seed money over 10 million, and yeah, of course, it will transform our company quite massively. Because so 21 is really for us about growth.
Okay. Yeah. So currently your company is mostly your co-founders, or do you have some more employees since 2019?
Yeah, no, we grew quite big. Yeah, so at the moment we are like 8-9 people. But most of it are IT guys, to be very honest, and yeah, we will add like 2 more people for due diligence of loan originators and marketplaces. And I think this is the adaptation to our quant approach we had in the past, where we mainly looked at data and then decided on that. To be honest, for you, I think this is not good news, because we will jump or dive into deeper, also a little bit in your process probably. So it will be more work for the marketplace we work with, and also sometimes for the loan originator. But we have to do this because due to this situation, it changed, and especially in the next 5-6 months, nobody knows what will come. So we were all happy, you know, because the national banks helped us a lot with all this money flowing into the market. So of course it was a relief, but when does it stop? And when the music stops, we still think there will be people who have problems, and loan originator which will have problems, and yeah.
So yes, many marketplaces have and loan originators are facing problems right now. Obviously, it's they are dealing. These companies are mostly dealing with borrowers who are, let's say, not in the best financial state at comparing to the banks customers and people who can get a loan at the bank, for example, and companies who can get a loan at the bank. So, but that also does not necessarily mean that everything will be dramatically bad to those companies. So meaning that before even the crisis, they are dealing with the defaults, and big numbers of defaults is kind of a regular business to them. It's not like for big banks who are like have less than 1% of default rates, and these companies are what we saw, that most of them are able to restructure their business and let's say stop issuing new loans, or issue new loans only to customers who have previously borrowed from them and have shown some let's say positivity in repayments and things like that. So of course this crisis will show us who is who, kind of who is
yeah. I mean, for us it's perfect because the credit or the loans which are issued now are the best, 100%. So for us it's a perfect time to launch our product. That's very obvious, but still you have to see who can survive this crisis and who can't. And I mean, for us as an industry, I think it's also good because when we had pitches, or when we went around and presented our products, everybody said, yeah, you never had a crisis. And I think after this COVID thing, which was really unpredictable how it worked out, I think it's good for us that we can show that. But still, we have to be very fair that there will be loan originators who will not be here anymore in 1 year. So this is just a fact. But this is also part of, to be very honest, this is also part of our business, as you said. Defaults in this area are the normal way, and as a result, also the default of some loan originator. We have to accept that this is part of the game. So
yeah. Since mostly viewers of this video are also peer-to-peer marketplace investors, maybe you can explain how to, if it's possible, how to become a customer of i2invest in the future, or how much money you would need to contribute to become the 20th borrower or 20th lender on your company.
Yeah, so the things we launch, they're all only for professional and institutional investors. So I think as a retail investor, the best way is really to go directly to a marketplace, look at the marketplace, perhaps also ask the team some questions, and then start investing yourself. As a professional or institutional investor, then you could contact us. We can help you either with that we provide you the software and some know-how, and you can implement your own strategy with some of the marketplaces you want to do, or then come to us and talk with us about the products. We help some of this asset manager to set up, where we advise them, and yeah, we would be happy to show you 1 or 2 products which we advise. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I'm mostly out of my questions now, and just a final maybe bit. What is your advice to the current retail investor? What is your kind of if you were like consider yourself as an influencer on a peer-to-peer investment market, so what would be your advice to this community?
Diversification. Don't put all the eggs in one basket. I think this is very true now. And let's be very clear. If there are some problems, sometimes you have just to be patient, because usually with credit, if it's not fraud, some of the loans will come back. So especially as a retail investor, if the loss is not crucial to your portfolio, just forget about it and wait a little bit. And yeah, this would be my advice.
Okay. So thank you very much, Gregor, for being with us here this half hour on a webcast of VIVENTOR. I hope it was interesting for everyone to watch, and stay tuned for our next webcast in a few weeks. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.